Okay, as promised, we're out on the, I guess you could call it the outskirts of the, well, some canyons in California. I tried getting out particularly early this morning because of the perpetual traffic in California, Los Angeles in particular. Slept for 5 hours. Out of bed at 6:30. It's now about 7:30 a.m. We'll see how it looks, because once you get to 9 o'clock, I know it's too late. It's all about trying to figure out the patterns around here. As I said, I started riding a motorcycle never before in October of 2014. So I really don't know what I'm doing, other than tips I picked up online, which I know isn't adequate. But I figured I'd ride for 6 months or so before getting into a more advanced class after the MSF. Maybe get a feel for what I need to work on before burdening somebody with instruction. So the FC07 it's pretty torquey, which is nice because I can just drop it in 4th gear, 3rd, 4th gear, 5th gear even, and you can take that through a whole road that ranges from 25 miles an hour all the way up to 70, 80. You can pick any gear. There's always a car. You're gonna have to take those doors of yours, buddy. We're gonna have to take your doors. Not in the mood. The downside of getting stuck behind somebody in a nice twisty road is that you can't pass them. It's not the most entertaining part, that you can't pass them because you can't see around them. So it's just a solid screwing. You can't do anything about it, other than risk your life, of course, which that's never worth it. Okay, Frontier. State your business. part's pretty slow anyway. There's a little town through here, so I'll hope you'll turn off. So if anyone does happen to watch this, leave a comment if you notice I'm doing something particularly unsafe. I don't lane split much, but it's legal in California, so it's probably not going to be worth your time. But I mean, like positioning, even placement around other cars, you know, how you see me go through intersections, anything that you may have learned that might keep me and other people safe, please drop a line. So this motorcycle is really easy to ride. It's super light. I'm not sure if it feels any differently if you're a little lighter. I'm sure it does, but whether that affects, you know, the how light it feels, I wouldn't think so, because you know, there is a spectrum of bikes available to all of us, and I think amongst them, this is certainly on the lighter end. I think it's just under 400 pounds with gas in the tank, fluids in the engine. So you can really flip it around, and you know, there's a lot of security as well when you're even at a light, and or you know, slow maneuvering. If you do have an loose imbalance, you can catch yourself with a leg. It's not so heavy that it's going to crush you. Looks like we traded one for another. This is when I'm trying to look where I want to go and not look where I don't want to go. What I'm hearing is what you look at is where you head, and I think I've experienced that myself. Luckily, I wasn't carrying anywhere near enough speed to almost hit anything, but you find yourself drifting and fixating. So like I said, just keep it in one gear and you can cover a range of speeds. I mean, like most other engines, just like most other engines, you know, if you're carrying some higher RPMs, you get more power. Same with this, you know, if you get yourself into the 7-8 grand territory and you just want to overtake somebody quickly, it's going to happen. Car. I wonder how many horses a smart car has. Can't be much. So apparently, for this road at least, this is not early enough. Too much action. That's a big train of cars. It's foggy out today in Southern California. It's not very common around here. And there's a piece of hair in front of my eye. It's driving me insane. Come on now, Skippy. You gotta do 30, don't you? You insist on doing 30. Here's a tight one. Keep looking where you want to go. There you go. Hang in there. So these tight roads, that one's not really tight. There's a lot of really narrow and slow roads. A lot of corners around here. And they're helpful in learning how to turn a motorcycle. Not that I know what I'm doing, but it's better than it was. So I had a police officer roll by me a few minutes ago, and just like all other people, they're variable. Some may spend the next 45 minutes hiding in the dark, waiting for a motorcycle to come by at a speed that's slightly over the limit. Because they have nothing better to do, especially in a nicer area like this where gunfire isn't happening every 10 minutes. Then of course you have the more normal people who would say, you know what, no one's committing any crimes, no one's hurting anybody. Let me find something better to do to make this town a safer place. And you never know who you're dealing with. Alright, speed limit 25, that is just ridiculous. Oh, school. Alright. Sometimes you see speed limits and they just don't make any sense whatsoever. They're... it's like a money-making zone. So one thing I learned when I was just getting started was that I think a lot of people, they know about the helmets, they know about the gloves, and they want to get a jacket that's, you know, at least leather or something that can stand up to some abrasive force. But the pants are often forgotten. I mean, even for the first couple of months I was riding around in jeans, and I can't tell you how many places I've seen a mention of jeans being inadequate, and they disintegrate basically with the frictional force, you know, at any decent speed on concrete, gravel, whatever it might be. It just rips things apart. I really didn't want to walk around or ride around in full leathers. I felt like that was a bit inappropriate, especially considering that, you know, I'm not traveling at ridiculous speeds. Most of the time I'm in traffic. So I had to see what was most practical for me. What I found was, you know, there's riding jeans. There's some that are just, you know, thick denim. And many of them have a Kevlar lining, some more than others in terms of the thickness or the extent of the Kevlar. So I found a pair of jeans that, you know, had extensive Kevlar lining, some hip pads, some knee armor as well to offer me a little further protection if I go down. And you know, some people will say when, because it's only a matter of time. That's fine with me. As long as I'm covered, I'll take a broken bone or some rip in the skin, as long as I keep myself away from other cars around me. Hopefully I'll be able to fall and not get run over, because I think that would probably be the biggest concern I would have, especially with the way that I ride. I don't think I'm the type to blast around at 100 miles an hour and just, you know, hit a rock or a tree, or take a corner way too fast and fly off a cliff. But if I do go that way, it'll be on camera. For the amusement of all of you. Yeah, really dark day. For those of you not from California and you're just getting towards the end of winter, I apologize. The weather's not better. You can't appreciate the scenery around here as much as usual. It's pretty amazing. 60 to 80 degrees, bright and sunny almost every day. This is pretty rare. I really never get over all the gated driveways, especially because they're so common on the West Coast, or I spent some time in Arizona. They're pretty common there too. Coming from the East Coast, I mean, yeah, there are some gated communities, but it just doesn't seem to be as many. I don't know what they're protecting themselves from. A car driving in? I mean, yeah, that'll work, but if someone really wants to get in your property, how much is a gate gonna do? I mean, is the problem with people pulling their car in your driveway that extensive? Or are all these people like famous and trying to be photographed by people sneaking in their driveway in cars and cameras? I don't know. Wow, nice view. For anybody thinking about getting a motorcycle, I would strongly endorse it, as long as you don't have a track record of reckless behavior. I think the main argument against them is the danger associated with it. Per population, motorcycle riders have a much higher injury and mortality rate. But you can't just look at populations in isolation and calculate risk. You have to actually know what that population is and what it consists of. And I think anybody who gets on a motorcycle probably has a bit more of a need for adventure and stimulation than the average person in a car. Given you're much less safe on a motorcycle, you're very exposed. You know, if you go down, you're going to hit by other vehicles. People can hit you, not see you, etc. But I mean, all you have to do is take a trip on any major road around here, and what you'll see bikes flying through traffic, you know, at speeds 30 miles an hour beyond the cars around them, in between cars, lane splitting at that speed. I'm sure after they get comfortable, they feel safe doing that, and maybe they are. But what I'm trying to say is, you know, the population of motorcycle riders, there is an element in that population of some pretty extreme risk takers. And people that are just dumb. I mean, and young. You know, the motorcycles are cheap compared to cars. People use them as transportation because they can get around the expense of a car. and it just happens to be a bit thrilling as well. You mix that in with you know, the age that people tend to have financial problems when they're younger, than buy motorcycles, and the type of person that buys a motorcycle, and what you have is, I think you have a lot of accidents that can be attributed to the motorcyclist, or at least partially. The question is, what is your risk if you ride relatively safely? And I think the risk of a severe injury and death is pretty low. I think putting an actual number on that is impossible, once again, because of the variability in populations. What's going on here? Lotus. It's a young girl in a Lotus. That is, that's really respectable. Wow, it's pretty. Get a break, I don't know this road. Yeah, this part of the ride I've never been on before, I just don't know it. A little bit of sand. I'm not going to play with that. Wow, it's a pretty solid corner there. Look at that. That'll ruin your day. I really don't want to hit a rock in one of these corners. Outbreak attraction. Dude, you want to get the fuck out of the road? I'm sorry, but bicyclists, they really annoy me when they're in the road. You clearly can't move with traffic, so get to the side or ride somewhere where cars aren't. It's just frankly unsafe. If you think motorcycles are unsafe, 20% of the speed of all the traffic around you and just hanging out in the middle of the road. Especially in places where people tend to carry a lot of speed. With blind corners. It's just stupid. On the way up here, I was on one of the major roads in Southern California. I see a herd of about 40 bicyclists traveling together. I give them credit for, you know, their endurance and the sport, but not on major roads. I don't believe in that whole share the road bullshit. I think the roads around major cities are dangerous enough. You have to be willing to accept some casualties if you want to have that philosophy of share the road. In in my profession, I see a lot of people with injury, and I've seen a lot of bicyclists as well as many motorcyclists. But the bicyclists are even more unfortunate, because usually they're just struck by somebody or something. One of the worst cases was a car door opening on a bicyclist. She's traveling outside of the, the car's on the side of the road, and someone swung the door open. He tumbles over the door, winds up in the street, and gets run over by another vehicle. These poor guys from different countries here on an academic visa. Was a brilliant individual. Now he has severe traumatic brain injury. Sorry. Bit of a downer. There's a turkey. Oh, okay. That is not a turkey. What is that thing? Rock store. I think I've seen that in other motorcycle videos. It's kind of a motorcycle stop. Here's another couple. Must you ride tandem? Single file, boys. Single file. See, I'm in fourth gear right now. I'm going what was I doing, like 20 something? And that's where the torque helps out. Look at this guy. Yeah, I mean, it's always a little freaky to be on a road you don't know. fun. Wow. Okay, I think I'm in a cloud at the moment. Things could be a little safer. Ooh, sandy. Oh yeah, you can't see a damn thing. Anyway, thanks for hanging with me. Once again, please leave comments. I think I'm gonna get a cruiser someday, actually. Latigo Canyon. Yeah, that road is really tight. That's another fun road to have to try someday. But yeah, it must be nice to kind of kick back on a cruiser if you're on the right road, if you're going for a longer trip. Especially if you get your girl with you, or your guy, depending on who you are. The atmosphere around you feels a lot different on a motorcycle than it does in a car. So if you're going on a trip for pleasure, you can really appreciate the smells and the sights even more. You're not restricted by that cage that's around you in a car. So when I first started riding, I never had experience on a bike with a fairing. Once I got up to like 60 miles an hour, I really felt that force against my chest. It's funny how much you adapt to it, because it doesn't seem to bother me at this point. I mean, I don't get on the highway much. I don't see much point in it. I don't commute on my bike, so I can't say, you know, how 80 feels. I mean, I've been 80 and it wasn't bad on brief highway stints. I still wonder how it feels on a bike with a fairing though. I wonder how much more comfortable it is. I mean, inevitably you put fairings on, the bike's heavier, and I definitely favor the appearance of a naked bike. I like to see the mechanicals. That's what's cool about a motorcycle to me. It's, you know, cars have all the good bits covered up. Motorcycles are much more simple and exposed. You can appreciate the structure of the engine and the frame and the exhaust and all the other small mechanicals that tie the bike together. And it's a shame to cover it up. I think if your purpose is pure speed and lap times, then of course, yeah, you need a fairing, but that'll never be my interest. The only modifications I made to this are, you see that little screen right there? It's a small wind deflector. I bought it mainly for looks because it's just a wide empty space between the gauges and the front headlight. I think it's just the design of the bike, and it fills that in. I think it just makes it look better. I'm starting to feel the wind. It's not pushing me off the bike by any means. Kind of tucked forward a little bit. But I think it'd be much more comfortable on a bike with a fairing. And it's another reason why having either a cruiser or something that's more of a touring bike be better for roads like this or highway riding. This is certainly better for, you know, tight, twisting roads, city traffic. For learning how to ride, it's light, it's nimble, easily maneuverable, all that good stuff. I can't believe I'd ever say this, but I can understand how people can adjust to power after a while. As I've said before, this isn't the world's most powerful bike, but it's shocking when I first get on it. It's not so shocking anymore. It still has way more power than I could safely use, so you know, the only time I have full throttle is when I'm at full acceleration in the first few gears. It's very brief. Can't believe I'm looking if they hit this light. Anyway, let's call it a day. We'll do it again soon.